The Bay Area's news station, KRON 4 News at 10, starts now.
Danger, danger, there's fascists in the White House!
Tonight at 10, despite their permit requests being rejected, hundreds of anti-fascist protesters took the streets of San Francisco. It was all part of a nationwide day of action demanding the removal of President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence from office. Good evening, I'm Spencer Blake. J.R. Stone and Justine Waldman have the night off. KRON 4's Ella Sagamonian joins us live tonight. Ella, the city didn't want that protest at Union Square, but these protesters showed up anyway. So were there any problems tonight? All right, thanks, Ella. Those protests were nationwide. This is video from Minneapolis and Philadelphia. There are also protests planned in several other cities, including New York, L.A., and Seattle. Also happening now, police are looking for carjackers who targeted a woman at BART. It happened late last night at the Rockridge station in Oakland. That woman was in her car when a man pointed a semi-automatic handgun at her in the West Side parking lot. The woman got out of her car, and then the gunman and another man got in and drove away. No one was hurt. That stolen car is a gray 2017 Honda Accord. And new at 10, police are looking for these three women in Sonoma. They're accused of stealing 22 bottles of high-end alcohol. It totals more than $1,100. Police say it happened at the Sonoma Market store on Napa Street yesterday evening. Officers are currently checking surveillance videos in the area for more clues. And joining me now is Lawrence Carno. We heard that rain coming in last night. I heard it at least. You said you fell asleep.
I slept right through it. I missed it all.
Hey, peaceful sleep at least, but more rain's coming our way, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're really just seeing this kind of opening the door to a series of storms headed toward the Bay Area. Saw this one come through today. Started to fall apart as a...
All right, thanks a lot, Lawrence. Well, happening now in Berkeley, the city is once again at odds with homeless encampments there. A group was forced to move off of BART property there, and now some of those homeless people have moved to City Hall. That's where we find KRON 4's Hermela Aragawi live tonight. She's got some of those details. Hermela?
Well, it's cold. It's that time of year where the temperatures have dropped and the rain is coming. So those who are homeless say more than ever.
Tonight, more than 3 weeks after the North Bay firestorm, all of those fires are contained. But thousands of homes were destroyed, and there's still so many people in need. Today, KRON 4's Philippe Jagal visited the last shelter still open in Sonoma County. Of course, yesterday, KRON 4 teamed up with the Salvation Army to raise money for the North Bay firestorm victims. We held a telethon, and people from all over the Bay Area were calling in to pledge their support, including Bay Area rapper E40.
I heard you wanted to make a donation. Tell me what you got going.
Appreciate the support, whatever it is. Are you ready to go public with a number?
Yeah, I'm gonna donate $5,000.
Wow.
He's gonna donate 5 stacks.
$5,000 from one person. What a generous man. That's rapper E40. And yesterday we raised more than $230,000 total. If you'd like to donate, you still can. That link is still up for you at KRON4.com. Coming up, there's been a lot of accusations made against movie mogul Harvey Weinstein, but tonight there's one that could result in criminal charges. Then an escalating feud between the president and his Republican predecessors. How the White House is now responding to the fact that neither President Bush voted for Trump. And next, we'll be new at 10 with the impact that the new Republican tax plan could have on the new Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas.
Dean McDermott's unpaid.
New tonight at 10, the Republican tax plan introduced in Congress would affect funding for the Raiders' $1.9 billion stadium in Nevada. According to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, that bill would end tax exemptions on bonds used by pro teams to pay for stadiums. Now, the Raiders' 65,000-seat stadium includes $750 million in public tax-exempt funding. President Trump is expected to approve the tax bill by Thanksgiving. Another big story we're following, the San Francisco Police Commission has approved a very controversial measure allowing officers to carry stun guns. This is an issue that's been debated for years, and there's been some pretty strong opposition. KRON 4's Camila Bernal explains both sides of the argument.
KRON 4 News.
San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott had this reaction to the tasers being approved. Quote, CEDs are a sound, less lethal force option that complement the de-escalation principles and techniques our officers practice every day. The chief added the department will now work on developing a policy for officers. The rain today across the Bay Area made for a very dangerous situation on the roads. In Antioch, rescue crews showed up this morning to a two-car accident at Kennedy and Delta Fair Boulevard. Look at the damage on one of these cars. One of them completely lost its top and also had a person trapped inside. Firefighter on scene says this kind of thing happens if you're not careful when the rainy season starts up again.
Based on the rain that we've had the last couple of hours, the conditions on the roadway are wet, and that brings the oils of the roadway to the surface and makes for an extra dangerous surface to drive on.
Rescuers pulled one person out of the car using the jaws of life. That person is now at John Muir Medical Center with major injuries. And you can imagine as the rain hits the Bay Area, the Sierra is getting a dusting of snow as well. Drivers headed to the mountains are advised to bring change. You'll have to have them if you want to get past. And just thinking about those kind of drives actually scares me. I do not like it.
Yeah, those icy roads, then you get some of that black ice. If it heats up, then refreeze.
All right, thanks a lot. Well, Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein may be facing criminal charges. New York authorities believe the story told by one actress in particular may be strong enough for prosecution. Bryn Gingras, with our partners at CNN, has details.
A New York CNN, New York.
Netflix, meantime, is cutting ties with House of Cards actor Kevin Spacey. The streaming service said it will not be involved with any further production of House of Cards. It will also not release a film Spacey produced and stars in called Gore. The decision comes following allegations of sexual misconduct against him. According to 8 of his co-workers, Spacey made the set of House of Cards a toxic work environment through a pattern of sexual harassment. Coming up, arrested for a tweet. What an American abroad posted that landed her in jail. And next, President Trump is responding to some serious criticism from his Republican predecessors. Tonight, we are tracking an intensifying feud between President Donald Trump and the Bush family. Now, according to media reports, in an upcoming book, both President George H.W. Bush and President George W. Bush criticize President Trump. The book is called The Last Republicans. In it, the author recounts a conversation where the elder Bush calls President Trump a blowhard and reveals concerns from the younger Bush that Trump would be, quote, the last Republican president. Also in the book, neither Bush voted for President Trump. Now, the White House is already firing back with this information. They made a statement obtained by CNN. It says in part, quote, if one presidential candidate can disassemble a political party, it speaks volumes about how strong a legacy its past 2 presidents really had. That statement also goes on to call the Iraq War one of the greatest foreign policy mistakes in American history. Tonight, President Trump has arrived in Japan, the first stop on his first official visit to Asia. Now, here's new video of the president stepping off Air Force One at a U.S. military base. Kim Hutcherson, with our partners at CNN, takes a look at what's at the top of his agenda for this trip.
President Trump and the First Lady leave Hawaii Saturday, headed to Japan to begin a 12-day, 5-country.
This is the Bay Area's news station. KRON 4 News continues now.
Governor Jerry Brown was at the Vatican today talking about the environment. Brown believes a religious approach needs to be taken in order to avoid climate change. The governor is in Europe for 11 days, and starting Monday, he'll be attending a UN climate change conference in Germany as a special advisor. And this all comes after a remarkable new study on climate change. Remarkable not only because of its grim prediction, but also because it was endorsed by the White House. But as KRON 4's Catherine Heenan reports, the White House is downplaying the significance.
Monstrous wildfire.
There was a convergence of hot-button political issues today in the East Bay. Protesters are trying to call attention to the conditions at a county jail, as well as the plight of undocumented immigrants. KRON 4's Jeff Pierce has the story. Happening tomorrow morning, New York City is stepping up security ahead of its marathon that gets underway Sunday. It was just Tuesday that a terror attack killed 8 people. Investigators believe Sayfullo Saipov, who is responsible for those deaths, planned the Halloween Day attack for nearly a year. Thousands of extra police officers will be on the streets during the marathon. The governor of New York says that added security measures are only precautionary. Kentucky police say a man attacked Senator Rand Paul inside his home. Now, Paul wasn't hurt badly, but police say the Republican senator suffered a minor rib injury and had injuries to his face, including cuts to his nose and mouth area. Officers arrested Renee Albert Boucher. They say he entered Paul's home and tackled him to the ground. Senator Paul says the 59-year-old suspect is actually his neighbor. Boucher is charged with 1 count of 4th-degree assault. Paul's communications director released a statement just tonight saying that the senator is fine. Tonight, we're tracking the bombshell allegations made by the former DNC chairwoman. Donna Brazil's recent claim about last year's Democratic presidential race brings up the question, could Bernie Sanders have beaten Hillary Clinton? Reporter Brianna Kilar has the latest. It's time to set your clocks back as daylight saving time comes to an end. And some people welcome the time change because, hey, you get that extra hour of sleep, right? But others hate to see the daylight slip away. Here's Kim Hutcherson with today's Health Minute.
The extra hour of sleep.
An American woman in Zimbabwe is in prison after calling that country's president a selfish and sick man on Twitter. Martha O'Donovan was arrested yesterday for posting that tweet about President Robert Mugabe. The 25-year-old American is now facing subversion charges. O'Donovan made her first court appearance today. She called the allegations against her baseless and malicious, and her attorneys tried to challenge that subversion charge. They say it only came as an afterthought. Sloat Boulevard in San Francisco has become known for dangerous speeders, so KRON 4 went out to see just how fast drivers are actually going there.
Here's Stanley Roberts, who
4 News.
An injured bobcat found on the side of the road earlier this year in Contra Costa County has finally been released back into the wild. That bobcat was found on Cummings Skyway in August. He had a broken pelvis and was barely alive. Thanks to the Lindsay Wildlife Experience Museum and the Wildlife Center of Silicon Valley, he did make a full recovery, and on Wednesday, rescuers released the bobcat near where he was found.
Time now for KRON 4 Sports.
Tonight, the Warriors were in Denver taking on the Nuggets. Golden State was wrapping up their 3-game road trip. Denver actually pulled away early in the game, but then late in the second half, the Warriors kind of woke up. They started the third on a 24-4 run. They finished the quarter with 43 points. Steph Curry finished with a plus-minus of plus 44. That's the highest of his career, including playoffs. Golden State went on to win 127-108. Well, during morning shoot-around, Warriors forward Draymond Green didn't want to respond to Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban's criticism. Cuban told ESPN he wants people to stop using the word owner to describe the people that own sports franchises. Last week, Green went on Instagram to express his anger against Texans owner Bob McNair. That owner was calling NFL players inmates. Draymond says he won't apologize to the league for his actions. He said, quote, "Nobody can prep me. I'm going to always say what I want." Finally, the Sharks were looking for their 4th straight win. They were taking on the Anaheim Ducks in San Jose. The Sharks trailed through the first 2 periods. In the third, Joel Ward tied it up at 1. This game had to go to a shootout, and Jonas Donskoy breaks the deadlock. Marty Jones gets the save. Sharks end up winning 2-1. That's a look at sports. Now, the Great Pyramid of Giza has another secret waiting for archaeologists. This story fascinates me. It turns out there's a mysterious empty space inside the tomb. The mission, Scan Pyramids, picked up a void that's about 100 feet long. They were using a new particle tracking technique. Now, the Great Pyramid already has three other chambers that they knew about: the King's Chamber, a smaller Queen's Chamber, and then a passageway called the Grand Gallery. Those were all previously discovered, but this room is the first major discovery made inside the pyramid since the 19th century, because there's no type of drilling at all allowed inside the pyramid. The secrets in that room are going to stay sealed up in stone for a while. So I guess we just have to wait, Lawrence, until they come up with the new technology, either scan what's in there, or somehow, I don't know, remove a brick without damaging things. I don't know what they're going to do.
Just think of the lost history. Maybe they're writing the hieroglyphics in there. I mean, it could be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, translations, other objects, who knows? I'm
you
excited
never
to see
know.
what comes out of there.
Something to look forward to. Hey, I'm looking forward to a good night's sleep tonight, and I